the subtle, or maybe I should say the not so subtle art of showing up. When you want a thing, when you want to do it, but when you know you should, but when you can't quite get yourself to take that step. I mean, we call it perfectionism, we call it I'm too busy, we call it imposter syndrome. But at the end of the day, what I want to offer to you is this not so subtle art of showing up, and it involves getting inside your own head. It actually involves doing a bit of brain surgery. So that's what I'm talking about here today. Welcome, hello, my name is Kylie Ansett. I am the Alignment Whisperer, and I guide seekers of alignment. That's you, to get in touch with your inner brilliance. And you know, that inner brilliance, that's the part of you that is always showing up. No matter whether you are or not, your inner brilliance is there waiting for you to help it shine. So I'm coming to you from beautiful Sydney, Australia, and this is your daily dose of alignment. Okay, the subtle art of showing up, or let's be honest, the not so subtle art. Now, before I go any further, what do you think of my hair? This was an inspired moment of just like, hey, instead of one, why not two? Now, and I don't know how long it's going to stay up there, but because I just use these sticks to put it in place. Look, we are often, in fact, I think we're always our own worst enemies. And if you can win the internal battle, if you can get over yourself, if you can quell the inner demons, the outer demons, the people, those that are the naysayers and the non-believers and the you shouldn't do that and what's with you, that they will mean nothing. It will be water off a duck's back. It won't even touch you. However, if you haven't won the inner battle, if you're in that place where you haven't managed to get over yourself and you're hearing those inner voices telling you that you shouldn't and you're not good enough, and self-doubt and it's not good enough, or all of that stuff, if you haven't won that battle, then all of that stuff that's going on around outside, any of the people or the circumstances that are telling you shouldn't, you'll hear those, and they will not be water off a duck's back. They'll be daggers right into your heart. You'll feel them, and here, this is the real kind of irony, I guess, of this, is because then what happens is we then say, oh, I would have done that thing, but you know, my partner didn't believe in me, or my parents gave me a really hard time and they said I should do this and I shouldn't follow my dream, or you know, the economy, blah 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 blah, or I had a young child, or I fill in the blank with your external excuse. And that way what's happening is you're pointing out there and saying that thing is the reason it didn't happen, when all along it was in here. And that is the message that I really want to share with you today, because as long as you are blaming the external thing, you are not winning the inner battle. And my message to you is to understand that the subtle art of showing up is the inner battle. And I call it the inner battle simply because it doesn't involve anyone else. It's between you and you, if you want to get schizophrenic about it. It's between your doubting self and your inner brilliant self. Now, I always talk about your inner brilliance because this is the part of you that I am connecting with. This is the part of you that I talk to. When I'm working one-on-one with someone, the only part of them that I am speaking to is that inner brilliance. And the more I connect with it, the more I speak to it, the more it comes out. The more attention you give to something, the more it will start to shine and show through. And instead of all those those doubting aspects, all the layers of muck. Just think of it as like grime, layers and layers of grime on top of the inner brilliance. I mean, the inner brilliance is there, and we all see sparks of it from time to time, sometimes more often than not. Sometimes they're rare and few and far between, but they're there. We've all seen them, we've all felt them, we've all experienced them. But those layers of grime on top. Now, I have the ability, I have X-ray vision. I'm able to see right through those layers of grime. I am able to see through and beyond to the other side. I'm able to see that inner brilliance. And there's no point relating to. So here's the mistake that I see a lot of coaches make is they are relating to, what happens is a lot of the time they're relating to those surface murky layers. They're trying to speak to that aspect of you that has the doubt. They're trying to speak to that aspect of you that has the imposter syndrome, the perfectionism, I've got to put this cat behind here because he's like trying to distract me by jumping all over my lap. Jasper. By speaking to the non-aligned part. Let's talk about it from a perspective of alignment. Since I am an alignment coach, when you connect with someone from a place where they're not aligned, guess what? It takes me as the coach out of alignment. So then we have two people out of alignment, and it doesn't matter what stuff you deal with, it's never going to be the real issue. You're never going to look at the underlying stuff you're never going to come at it from that place of truth, of authenticity, of actually of where you actually need to be relating. So as long as that is happening, you're going to be missing the point. You're never going to get to the issue. You could spend months, years, you could spend a lifetime faffing about in that kind of like working on all these murky layers, right? And because they're never ending. As soon as you clear one, there's another one appears. It's almost like, it's like a revolving door. They never end. Whereas if you just ignore all of that, because like we all have it, it's going to be a part of every single one of us, and all of our neuroses, might have their own flavor, but who cares? Like I don't want to be connecting with the neuroses part of you, because that will be bringing out the neuroses part of me, and we'll both be in a place of out of alignment. Neither of us will be connecting with our inner brilliance, and that inner brilliance, that is where you're actually going to get. That's where you're going to get the answers. That's where you're going to get the solutions. That's where you're going to realize all of the things that you want to realize. So, you following me? You following me so far? So let's just put our hands up and say the neuroses are there, the self-doubt's there, the fact that we wonder if this is the right path, that we doubt ourselves, that we think that someone else would probably do it better. Whatever story happens to be your favorite story of the moment, just let's say, okay, that exists. We all have it, but I'm just not going to give it any airtime. I'm not going to give it any attention, because I know it's there. It and 50,000 other little neurotic stories, they're all there. They all exist. They all have, I guess, a place as long as I give it to them. But now instead, I'll just go, yeah, okay, I realize that all these layers are there, but let's just get right underneath to the inner brilliance, to the core of who I truly am, to the core of what my essence is, and then come from that place. Now, the way I like to think of this is pretty much like a happy, healthy baby is. They have no self-doubt, right? Now, a baby doesn't have self-doubt. A baby doesn't have neuroses. another way to look at it would be like an animal, and not a domestic animal, because they often pick up on the neuroses of their owners, having just been in that environment for long enough. But like a wild animal, they don't have self-doubt, right? And now you might say, well, this, when it comes to a baby or to an animal, I mean, all these aspects come with the intellect that grows as a sort of more evolved being or whatever. But does it? I don't know. I think that's another excuse. I don't know if intellect is what equals our ability to have self-doubt. I get how you could come to that conclusion, but it just sounds like another excuse to me. If instead, and to think that a baby or a wild animal is just coming from a place of instinct only, and it's just like a reactive state that's kind of built into their genetic material. Again, I'm not buying that. I think there's something much more authentic and true and connected. And when we tap into that aspect of ourselves as more evolved, more mature beings, when we do tap into that aspect of ourselves, because it's there, right? We admit that it is there. Each and every one of us has that ability, or has that aspect, or has at our core that inner brilliance. When we connect truly and deeply to that, the neuroses fall away with such ease. And we can look back, and I'm sure you've done this yourself in the past, and you look back and think, what was all that worry? What was all the worry about? What was I getting myself tied up in knots about? What was all that about? And we can see that in hindsight. Yes, I get that, that's all well and good, but what about when you're in the foresight place, when you haven't gotten to that place yet? Well, the thing is, it just is a matter of connecting. So this is why I talk about alignment. This is why I call myself the alignment whisperer. This is why I say that I'm an alignment coach, is because when you are aligned with your inner brilliance, none of those other things actually have a place. And how do you get aligned? Well, it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of allowing. It's a matter of letting go of the resistance. And an easy way to say it would be to get out of your own way. Maybe easier said than done, especially when it's a habit that you've been displaying for a long time. But what I absolutely love about this is that it's so much easier than we think, than we've given it credence. We look at this Mount Everest of a task, and then when we actually take the first step, we find that it's not a Mount Everest at all. It's not even a little hill, and it's not even something that takes effort. In fact, just by blinking, we're already at the summit. So that, first of all, the gruel and the grind that we think it's going to take, which often is what puts us off from taking that first step, that to begin with is the first aspect to kind of recognize. And then the second aspect is that we're getting in our own way, but we often blame external circumstances. So we might say something like, well, I didn't have the right equipment to climb the mountain. There was a blizzard and it blew me down off the mountain. We will point to external circumstances when there is no mountain. You see, we were not even, when we're fighting those external demons, we've forgotten the fact that there never really was a mountain. And so we're we're fighting ghosts. We're fighting things that aren't real. So that's pretty deep, isn't it? I know. So I love that, because what happens is often when I work one-on-one, and this is what I'm offering to you in these sessions here, when I work one-on-one with people, I feel like I've got a magic wand, and that I just tap, and then they go, oh, I thought that was a mountain. That's not it. That's not even a molehill. Oh, well, why wasn't I taking that step? Oh, well, I'll just take that step now. And honestly, that happens so often. It blows me away. Not because I think that I have some incredible insight, but because I am holding steady I'm holding steady to their inner brilliance. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I give no credence or credibility or airtime to the neuroses, to those layers and layers and layers on top. Like we could spend all day talking about those. We could spend all year talking about those, but I'm not interested in them. Don't care, not interested. Because all I'm looking at is what's underneath them. And that's all I'm going to be relating to. And once you start doing that, and I spoke about this the other day, you know it yourself. Once you start relating to other people like that, they rise to the challenge. They live up to your expectations, and they start becoming that inner brilliant aspect of themselves that at their core they are, that they might have forgotten, because so few people relate to them like that. And because then they start buying into the layers of neuroses and whatever messages and stories they've got laid and laid and laid and laid and laid on top. And so then everyone's buying into it. Everyone around them's buying into it. They're buying into it. And it's kind of like a self-perpetuating cycle that they never get out of. And then every now and again, they get a little glimpse and they go, oh, where'd that come from? Like there's something going on there. Right? You need to have more than just a glimpse. I mean, this is, you owe it to yourself to live every moment of every day like that. Like, why not? Why not? Why not? Like, I'm actually asking you, why not? Now, I get you might have some really legitimate reasons, but they're all part of that mountain. They're all part of that picture that you're painting that's not actually even real. So then it comes down to it's a choice. Now, I know I'm oversimplifying clearly, but at its core, it is a choice. And that gives you the power. Not anyone else, it gives you the power. Now, how you make that choice, what mind stuff you have to do to step into that place where the mountain does disappear. I mean, that's the journey. That's the thing that gets you to the place where you're living like that every moment. That is the journey. And there's resources around you. There's like working with a coach would be a resource, absolutely. There are so many mindset resources that are available, books and things like this video. Meditation. The more you look, the more you see. In fact, I have gotten to the point where it's an obsession with me. I see it everywhere. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, what conversation I'm having, what movie I'm watching, what TV commercial I'm watching. Like, not that I actually ever watch TV commercials, but sometimes you see them by accident. But it doesn't matter what comes into my realm, whether it's a book that I'm reading or a conversation I'm having, I will always see the inner message for me in that. And it's in everything. So you will be able to recognize it everywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's a conversation you had with a stranger at a shop or a movie. Movies are a great place to see it because it's so easy to take many interpretations from things like a movie, and I'm always looking for that, and it's not, and that's obviously not the intention of the movie where it's really overt and in your face. I'm talking about the subtleties I can see beneath, way beneath, and it may be that they didn't do the thing, so it's still a message though. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so my message to you is to realize that once you connect and once you align with your inner brilliance, you are able to relate to everything in your world, and it becomes the art of showing up, which is the art of aligning, which is the art of being who you want to be. And, after all, isn't that what we want? I guess it is. All right, thank you so much for playing with me in the Alignment Sandbox. It's been fun. And don't forget, the power is within you. Bye-bye.